With this article, Truth or Silence, and I should finish it up here. It says, how to speak all the same thing. Even though it has been shown that 1 Corinthians 1:10 cannot be applied the way the church organization has applied it, Paul is still talking about all speaking the same thing. What is this thing that we are to be speaking so there are no divisions among us? How can we be speaking the same thing without following men but Christ? Using the principle in Isaiah 28:10, once again, precept upon precept, we can find the answer in another one of Paul's epistles, the book of Ephesians. But before we look at Ephesians, let's restate Paul's instructions to the Corinthians. Now I plead with you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that you all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. Ephesians 4:14 through verse 16 complements 1 Corinthians 1 verse 10 beautifully. It states, so then we may no longer be children, tossed like ships to and fro between chance, gusts of teachings and wavering, with every changing wind of doctrine, prey of the cunning and cleverness of unscrupulous men, in every shifting form of trickery and inventing errors to mislead. Rather, let our lives lovingly express the truth in all things, speaking truly, dealing truly, living truly. Enfolded in love, let us grow up to every way, and in all things unto Him who is the head, even Christ, the Messiah, the Anointed One. For because of Him, the whole body, the church, in all its various parts, closely joined and firmly knit together by the joints and ligaments with which it is supplied, when each part, with power adapted to its need, is working properly in all its functions and grows to full maturity, building itself up in love. The Greek for express truth in verse 15 is aletheio, which according to Vine signifies to deal faithfully or truly with anyone. If we are admonished to speak the truth by Paul, how can we be told by a church organization to conceal it for the good of all? How does Ephesians 4:14 through 16 complement and deepen the meaning of 1 Corinthians 1:10? There are three areas in which it occurs, and we will continue that at another time perhaps, but I think perhaps another part of this article is brought out on keithhunt.com. keithhunt.com. And it'd be a good place to see this article, Truth or Silence. Many great articles on that site. Well worth your time, your daily Bible study. Just click on there, and I encourage you, whether you have a computer or not. Obviously you have a computer because you're seeing this here, but if you don't have one or someone doesn't have one, go to the library. Use the computer there. Most places it's free at the library. It'd be time well spent on the Sabbath day or any time to learn more about God's truth. And I will continue to publish these videos as I can and as I have time, and also work on the other things that I have to do for others. And I hope this has been helpful to you, to show you that it's very important for us to make a stand for the truth and to speak it, live it, and to teach it. And not be intimidated by these people that have come into the Church of God and pretty much squashed the truth and substituting for themselves error for the truth. So anyway, be vigilant and be very, very mindful, but be very careful with how you go about dealing with these people, because these people are pretty tough will throw you out of fellowship. And sometimes it's good to have other people that you can talk. There are some of God's people still out there, still speaking the truth and trying to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But you know, don't compromise with the truth because it lives in us just as Christ should live in us, and He is truth. So with that, I'll close now, and perhaps the next time we'll get into the next segment, which will be on the government of God and church government. Very lengthy article, a very lengthy subject, but I will take the time to go through it. I think it's probably the number one issue within the Church of God today, and has been for a number of years. Brought on by this man who wrote this book, and kind of brought some error into the church and really messed things up. We can get out of it.